What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Random Video Blog, where every single Friday I, Graham G.S. Matthews, run down my rambling wrestling thoughts, share a few stories, etc., etc. Before we get started here today, a quick announcement. I was contemplating this yesterday on Twitter. At the end of this month, I might be ending the Random Video Blog as a weekly Friday series. On the 4-year anniversary of really when we started the Friday video blog. Really was, when I first started it, not meant to be anything weekly. It was really just something I did at random, starting with my first ever You Never Know Who Might Be a Wrestling Fan episode back in March. I think it was late February 2014. It did not become a weekly series here on the channel until late March 30th, 2014, 4 years ago. So at the end of this month, on March 30th, 2018, we might be ending the series. I'm just kind of running out of ideas. I've shared all the stories I can. I've done all like the favorite theme song shows before, and there's still a lot of stuff to talk about in wrestling, but I might reserve that for Wrestle Rant Radio, and of course, if I do book reviews and movie reviews and stuff, I'll still do that stuff here for the channel. It just might fall under like the miscellaneous category as opposed to the random video blog. And if I want to take time out of the day to talk about my experience at a certain show, like tonight, I'm going to Northeast Wrestling in Waterbury. I'll be doing that next week here on the channel. And if I ever do that in the future beyond the beyond the random video blog being retired, I'll probably do it in a separate video here on the channel. And the YouTube channel schedule will be configured accordingly. But anyway, guys, just want to give you a heads up that we might be having our final random video blog, at least as a weekly series, in a few more weeks of March 30th. So I'm still contemplating. I got to figure out what the new YouTube upload schedule would be in that case. But just want to give you guys a heads up. But nonetheless, I do have one more story to share, or at least another story. Maybe not one more, because there will be still more to come. In regards to a show that I went to 2 years ago, Big Time Wrestling, which I had no idea about, but shout out to Zach Donegan on the Twitter machine. Great guy. He actually pointed me in the right direction with this show. A few months before it happened, I think in like early maybe late January 2016. Had never been to a Big Time Wrestling show prior to this event in March of 2016. But he did let me know they would be having an event in March of 2016 in Connecticut, and I was going to be home that weekend, so it worked out perfectly. I was on spring break, and the reason I would be going is because Sting was going to be there, and I was super stoked to meet Sting. That was the same year he was going into the WWE Hall of Fame. I had my Sting shirt, super pumped. So we go, and there'd be also a lot of other slew of stars in the card as well. So I went with, I think my stepfather that day. I had a great time. The show was good, but because we got lost on the way there, and I left early enough with enough time to spare, but because it was like an hour away from my house, we got lost 3 times. Fucking maps on my phone fucked us up with the address, and I couldn't find it. It was super confusing, super frustrating. We got there a little late, and as a result, we got there right when the show started. Sting was already done doing autographs. I was really upset. Not like super upset, but it was like, oh, that sucks. I'll meet him one day. And hopefully I'll get my chance again down the road. But I couldn't meet him on that night, unfortunately. Still had my Sting shirt on regardless. And still got to meet a slew of other stars, including Gangrel, Homicide, and Raven. Yeah, 3 very random names from like the Attitude Era, or Homicide, and more so like TNA's original years. But the show itself, I really don't remember much about it. I remember we had a main event that involved Sandman, who was also there, and a few other people. I wish I could have met Sandman in retrospect, but the guy was by far not what he was in the late 90s, but he still seemed pretty cool. Our Gangrel was really cool. I met him first in the ring. That's the picture I'll use for the random video blog this week. He still looks exactly like he did in the late 90s. He was super nice. Homicide was beyond chill. I was a big LAX fan back in the day in TNA. I still like them nowadays. And Homicide's actually part of that group as well. But like the original LAX with Hernandez and Homicide, those guys were great. But yeah, I got to meet Homicide, who was super chill, as well as Raven. Obviously an ECW legend, WWE alumni. Doubt he'll ever be back. He seemed like he could not give 2 shits and rather did not really want to be there. But he was super cool too. Got to get a picture with him. He was cool. But the show itself was pretty fun. Overall, I mean, it's not all that memorable. Definitely not one of the better indie shows I've ever been to. I think it was in Danbury, Connecticut. But it was fine. I haven't been to a Big Time Wrestling show since, so only go if they have like a big enough card. Like if they have enough star power. I always go to Northeast Wrestling. I'm going to Northeast Wrestling tonight to meet Marty Scurll, Emma, and a few other people, the Young Bucks hopefully, and a slew of other stars on tap for tonight's show. So we'll talk about that next week here in the random video blog. But big time wrestling though, for what it was a fine time. I think they not only go here to the Northeast, but also across the country if you want to check them out. And I think Sting might be still doing shows with them. I know they had Ric Flair for a while, who I almost met a few months ago, which I talked about in the random video blog back in December, when I got to meet Corey Graves and Cody Rhodes again and Christian again. They were all cool. But yeah, I think Ric Flair was supposed to be at that show. He had to pull out for whatever reason. And he still does indie shows. They haven't got him back since for Northeast Wrestling, which kind of sucks. But hopefully at some point. But yeah, big time wrestling. Good time. If you ever have the chance to meet Raven, Homicide, or Gangrel, yeah, 3 random wrestlers I know, definitely take advantage of that opportunity. So not really much of a story. Just wanted to kind of share my experience meeting those 3 guys at Big Time Wrestling 2 years ago. Ahead of my experience at Northeast Wrestling tonight, which I will reserve that story, my experience meeting those guys. Hopefully the Young Bucks, Marty Scurll, and Emma, first and foremost, and a few other people if I have the chance. I'll be talking about that right here next week in the random video blog, so stay tuned for that. Be sure to like this video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Like I said, guys, contemplating the end of the random video blog as a weekly series at the end of the month, so maybe my mind will change between now and then. Let me know on Twitter, comments, whatever, if you want to see it die or see it stay, whatever. Doesn't really matter to me whether it stays or goes, but I guess we'll find out soon enough by the end of the month whether it will be retired or not, and if the YouTube channel schedule will be adjusted accordingly. So anyway, guys, thank you for checking out the show per usual. Like I said, we'll be back next Friday with another all-new installment in the random video blog series. Until then, have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the month of March. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.